What is up, everybody? Escape211 here on the test server once again today because we're going to be looking at a new weapon, kind of new. We already know a little bit about this weapon. This is the Grav Beam 12. We got a sneak peek of this in the devlog. It's actually pretty sweet for a beam weapon, a legendary one. We already kind of know what the effect of this is, but we'll take a peek at it. This is about doing an implosion effect where it does a lump sum of damage once it reaches its critical mass. This weapon recharges just like other beam weapons, and its damage is poor until it hits that effect, right? So with these kind of weapons, it's different. We would usually look at like the damage per magazine, damage per shot, its fire rate, the amount of the magazine, and reload speed, yada, yada, yada. With beam weapons, we look less at that, and we focus more so on the effect it's going to do. In this one, its effect has the same kind of timeline or the percentage wise as like other beam weapons, getting up to 40%. It does a little bit of extra at 6, which is kind of nice, and the end result maxed out or at 6 stars will be 3 seconds flat when it achieves this buildup. Now this is pretty slow, actually quite slow. The closest cousin when you max it out, I actually maxed it out here on the test server, of the other beam weapons will be the, I'm sorry, I'm in the Mechs. It will be the Thermal Lance 2, here we go. Thermal Lance 2 is 3.21 seconds, so it's slightly longer, but that's only because it stops getting a better overheat at 5 stars. The Grav Beam 12 does it at 6 stars. So this weapon is not good, though. We know that this weapon overall is pretty terrible. That's why if you're going to use a Thermal Lance weapon, you're going to be using the Thermal Lance 6, because once this hits the top end, when at 5 stars, it's like only a second. It takes only a second for overheat. The closest cousin, at least in terms of equal size, is the Stasis Beam 12 here, and it's 2.62, which is faster than the Grav Beam's 3 flat. We're going to go back there for the Stasis Beam 12. The other thing to note here is that when you look at its range, this optimal range is 0 to 90, but its max range here is 150 meters, which is the more important stat to look at, whereas the Grav Beam, it has a better optimal range by a slight amount, but its max range is only 100 meters. That's important because you want to be able to reach your target to achieve the implosion effect sooner. You don't really care about the damage or its optimal range. You care about that effect, right? So I did do some testing with these at different star rankings, all right? So I'll bring up first the 1, 2, and 3 star, and I'll play this a couple times, right? Just so you can see the difference in when the implosion effect actually drops for each of these to see the difference in the speed. For 1 and 2, it's about the same. It starts to like pull away at 3. All right, so not too bad there. You can see the damage difference. Now we look at 4, 5, and 6 star. This is where you can see a bit more of the speed difference and how quickly it drops, and also the damage difference, all right? So not bad. And then I also paired this with the Stasis Beam 12 so you can compare. You can see when the Stasis Beam starts blinking, it actually hits its rate, so it's a little bit faster than this as expected at max. And then also, interestingly, I did some testing where, you start to lose the effect. This is the crazy thing with this weapon. Once you start losing the effect, it drops off significantly. Once you lose your target, you will lose that Grav Beam effect very rapidly as compared to other stuff. I also tried it when it's at 6 stars. Interestingly, too, it will achieve the implosion effect faster, but it will split the damage between the two weapons as opposed to a higher lump sum in a single weapon. So it's interesting how they did the stat there. I'm not exactly sure why they did that. I'm curious if Ruffles will do more testing on this, because he's usually very good at this stuff. So we'll let him get into that. But all that kind of stuff said, we're going to jump into a match here just so you can see how this plays out. I actually think this is a really fun weapon. I have it set up with Guardian, and I have Asami on it, which is nice, but it's interesting. There were no implants for this weapon yet. I'm only using implants for Ares right now with her, only a couple of them. And I don't have any implants. There's nothing for this weapon out yet. Nothing of like mag size, recharge, implosion effect damage. I'm assuming they're going to do some of those, but we don't have any right now, at least not on the test server. When I'm filming this, there's probably some already that you guys have in-game, because the weapon should be dropping right now, or has already dropped when I'm putting this video out. Probably in an event crate rush, but overall, I gotta say it's pretty damaging. You'll see here, this can do some solid damage. you know, once you can get that effect on, these are, again, like between 4 and 5-star bots, so a little bit less than me, but with Asami attached, this is going to do some beastly damage. Usually if you can hold on to your target, small to medium-sized targets die from 1 implosion, or like super close to 1 implosion. Bigger targets, it'll take a little more, especially if they got that shield on in the front like another Ares. But yeah, this can just mow down enemies, especially these bots, right? That's not exactly surprising. That's usually the case, that we're mowing down these bots. But it's nice to see a beam weapon doing this. I feel like it usually doesn't do it quite as fast, but for this one it does. That one took a little longer, but it had the shield up, as you can see. But yeah, I think this weapon is going to be a lot of fun. Oh, I didn't show it there, but you can see where it would have lost the implosion effect pretty quickly. If you don't kill a target, obviously it will start recycling the timer on the implosion effect. So on bigger targets, if it doesn't kill them, I don't really have a great example of that, but if it doesn't kill the beefier targets, it will reset the counter, or, you know, bring the implosion effect back up to hit them for another one. Usually most targets die in 2 unless they have some other kind of protection on them. So yeah, it's pretty darn strong, gotta say. I'm enjoying it. I am curious to see what else they come out with for this weapon, since this is a 12. Does that mean we're going to see like a 14 and a 16? Or are we going to see something less than a 12 and then the 16? No idea. I have a feeling, and I kind of worry it's going to be like the Voltaics, where we see a 14 in a playoff, and then we see the 16 in a paid event crate rush. Probably like the 12 is now. That's what I'm guessing they're doing. But I don't know when I'm actually making this video. It's not out for me when I'm looking at this on the test server. All right. Yeah, this is kind of cakewalk here. As you can tell, this thing will mow down the bots, and it's a lot of fun at doing that for sure. I enjoy it in the aspect of just, you know, crushing stuff. But the question then becomes, is this a good weapon, right? Overall, I have to say it's a lot of fun. And in terms of killing bots, it's going to do a great job at that. Against players, I think it's going to be harder or trickier to be able to maintain on your target. This is a suppression weapon in my mind, because people aren't going to want to sit there against you and just like be imploded, right? They're going to try to move out of the way. So on maps where there's a lot of cover, it's not going to be great. On maps where you have the potential to leave them out in the open, some TDM maps, some CPC maps, this will do some good damage. But I think smarter players will not stick around for that. But it can keep enemies at bay, so that may be good and effective for other enemies to sweep around, or if you can catch somebody off guard to kind of third party them, it can be pretty strong there too. So interesting to see how this plays out, and also how the family set plays out if we see a 14 or 16, and how quickly those reach implosion. If they do it significantly faster, this will definitely see play. But the 12 already I think is good, and I think it can only go up from there. I don't think it's a required weapon to get, but it's certainly a fun one. I hope to get it myself sometime soon, but we'll see as a free to play now how quick I get it. But you guys can let me know your thoughts about this weapon overall, and we will see you out there on the battlefield.